Hey guys, welcome to another episode. This is Karthik here. This video is dedicated for those folks who recently started working from home, and it's become mandatory now these days because of all the coronavirus situation we have all across India and around the world. So as someone who's been working for the last 10-15 years from my home office and otherwise, I'd like to share some of the tips that I learned during this time that you can use to make an effective, useful, stress-free work from home experience. So let's get started. Alright, so for those of you who are wondering who I am, my name is Karthik and I'm a blogger from Kochi, India. For the last 10 plus years, I was working in the Middle East and USA for small and big startups, but I got bored. So I quit my job and returned back to India by the end of 2017. And ever since then, I'm working for myself. So I have my blog where I share everything about whatever I learned in my life. It's on moneykarthik.com and through my videos as well. So in this episode, we're going to talk about work from home. Okay. So what exactly is work from home? This is when most companies these days are opting for work from home opportunities. But one thing you need to understand is that working from home, it's not the same as in your office. So if you expect the same kind of environment as in the office at home, it's not going to happen. And this is the mistake I happened to do when I started working from home initially, like 10 plus years back, when I took my laptop, put it on the bed and thought, okay, I'm going to work. It didn't work out because you have family and there are a lot of other commitments as well. So a lot of people expect you to spend your time with them and you will be torn between your work and your matters of the house. So don't go in for work from home with that kind of expectation. If you are going to work from home, my first tip for you is compartmentalize your time. That is, you have to have proper time slots where you decide this is when you will be working and this is when you will be slacking your time or spending your time with others in your family or at home. So for example, you could say 9 to 11 in the morning could be working from home time, where you check your emails or get on calls or whatever work you're doing. But then after that, you need to block out your time. Let's say, for example, 11 to 1 for lunch and other stuff and spend time with others. Because if you have like a lot of people at home, like say for example your spouse or kids or elder members or whatever, they wouldn't really understand seriousness of the situation, and people would come knocking in if you're in your bedroom or if you things can go a little bit haywire. So you have to have clear-cut idea about what times you'll be working and what times you'll be spending time with them. So that way you can kind of block out these times and expect them to also respect your privacy or respect your work time. So that is my first and foremost tip for you. Compartmentalize your time. Make sure you have enough time for work, clearly define time for work and clearly define times for spending time with your family. Number two is, as obvious it is, you have to find a space for yourself. So it could be your bedroom, it could be your empty room upstairs, or it could be somewhere, it depends on whether you need to be on calls and stuff. If you have to be on calls, you need to have ideally a place where there's no much sound. So you can, put on your mic or whatever and get on calls and still be okay. But if you're like working without getting on calls, just coding and typing and most of the stuff is happening on laptop, then you don't want that kind of a place. So depending on what you need, you have to find a space for yourself. That's important. Never put yourselves in the middle of other things. Like for example, someone's watching TV, you go sit by them with the laptop and think you can work. It's not going to work out. It's actually going to make you more disappointed because at the end of the day, it's not going to get any work done and you'll be disappointed. So you don't want to do that. Make sure that just like you compartmentalize your time, you make sure that you have also space that is dedicated for working from home. It could be a bedroom or the extra bedroom that you never used, or your guest room or your sit out or whatever else, depending on whether you need a place that needs, some kind of soundproofing or not, you can choose the room. So I usually work from my home office, and this wasn't a home office initially when I started off. This was basically a additional bedroom that I had that I wasn't using. So I decided to make it into a home office. So which meant I had to, set up some basic furniture stuff, and depending on my requirements, I had to customize it. So I have an almost soundproof room, which wasn't the case initially. So you need to start off with something what you have. And maybe later, if you're required to spend more time working at home, you can convert it into a home office. But otherwise, it's okay to just pick up whatever room is lying around and you can make use of it. Number three is make sure you have the right tools to get started with. For example, when you're working from home, you need some tools to connect with others or collaborate with others. You can't always do it on the phone or WhatsApp or other tools that you have, it might not sound professional. So what I would recommend you is to make sure you install the tools that you need to collaborate. What that means is you, as well as your peers, your colleagues, also should be installing and using these softwares or tools. There are a lot of tools available for collaboration and working from home, and most of them do have their free versions, which allows you to do almost everything, but like with a limit, like for example, for 10 people or 20 people. I do have a list of almost 125 tools that I use for, or I have used for work from home opportunities, and I've listed it on my blog. It's available at moneykarthik.com/tools. The link should be on the description down below, so do check it out. It has everything from free project management tools, free collaboration tools, free video conferencing tools, everything that you need to set up a proper collaborated work from home environment. So with these tools, what happens is you'll be communicating smoothly. Most of these tools have the features that'll let you get on calls, record things. Like for example, a lot of people ask me, why don't we just use WhatsApp or Skype for calls or video calls, right? Well, Skype might be the popular tool out there, but there are a lot of other tools which lets you record your screen or even translate what you're saying, your speech, into words automatically when you talk. And not many people know about this. These things are very essential for an office environment, right? You need records of everything. So in that respect, most of the tools are very, very, very useful. So do check out the list on my blog. The link is in the description. The next tip is make sure that you have your expectations set right. Like for example, you should know or acknowledge the fact that there will be disturbances. Most of the time what happens is when you're at the office, you're always zoned out. Like for example, you get into your work and there's nobody to disturb you because it's an office environment. Everybody respects you and everybody expects you to do the same thing to them. So you don't expect too much, problems there, except for, I don't know, the sutta breaks or the chai breaks that you have. So when you're working at home, expect others to disturb you for sure, right? Because they're not used to this and they don't know what you're working on. They might need you, they might take you for granted, and that's going to happen. So whether it be your spouse, your kids, your elderly family members, or whoever else is there in the house, even though you have defined your space, defined your time and everything, just make sure and understand and acknowledge that there will be disturbances. So don't get annoyed. I used to get annoyed a lot initially when there was disturbances. Like for example, someone would ask me to go to his shop or going for a drive or whatever, or help with something else, running some errands or whatever. And it's always a disturbance because you're in the middle of something and you don't want to step out at that time. So expect that to happen. So what I would normally do is record whatever I'm doing. So for example, if I'm coding something or designing a website or writing an article or shooting a video, I make sure that I can stop it at any point of time and continue with it after I come back. So that way you always stay expected and you always make sure that there's some kind of disturbance coming at your way. Don't get angry, don't get annoyed. Just understand that this is how it is at home. Another thing is make sure you document whatever you're doing, because when you're at home, there's a lot of risk for data loss. For example, if you're working on your laptop, you might spill your coffee on it or something, or you might have to stop the work in between. You have to go out for an errand or whatever. So during these times, it's very, very important that you document and record your work. So if it is coding, make sure you have backups of whatever you're doing. So I usually have like this kind of an external hard disk sort of, where everything can be stored. But if you don't have that, you have all the cloud backup options available these days, and sometimes even your company might have something that'll let you save your work as and when you do, or as and when you progress. So make sure you use that, because it's very easy to lose the work that you're doing when you're working from home. So make sure you do backups regularly when you're working from home. Okay, so the other thing is you will have disturbances, for example, noise from the construction happening next to your house, or I don't know, the sabji wala going around your house shouting for whatever he wants to shout about. So these disturbances are always going to be there. And you might be on a call, you might be working on your own, and these disturbances will definitely pop up. So what I normally do is I use like a headphones, which is, this one is from Sony. It's a noise cancelling headphones. This is the WX1000M3, I believe, which is a beautiful noise cancelling headphone. So if I put them on, then I don't have to worry about anything else, because it almost seals off the entire environment. You can even put up ambiences that you like, or listen to music. I usually sometimes just put it on, and I don't play music, but I just put it on just to cancel out the noise outside. Sometimes I put some white noise and some trance EDM kind of stuff just to keep me going or pumped up. But you could also try that, because that's very important. You might have the TV sound, you might have, the kids might be playing out, or the pressure cooker, these kind of things will always come in, and it's very easy to get distracted. So make sure you keep your cool, put on your headphones and just zone out into whatever you're doing. The last tip I have for you is working from home can be stressful, really stressful. I know a lot of people who get into work from home mode immediately, and then after a while like maybe this is not the right thing to do, because they get tired so often and they get distracted, and there's a lot of disturbances. They're not getting things done, and it's very stressful. You have timelines and targets to achieve, and you're not able to do that from home. You get stressful. So what I would recommend you to do is make sure that this is a stressful thing, so you understand and acknowledge it. First of all, it's not an easy thing. Many people think that, oh, working from home is easy because you don't have to see your boss or whatever. But one thing you have to keep in mind is this could be getting stressful. So make sure you have your friends and your colleagues updated on what you're doing. That's very, very useful and important, because many people, what they think is they take things for granted, and they think that, okay, if I'm working from home, everybody knows I'm working from home, and I can, slack off and watch a movie on Netflix or whatever, and nobody would know. Don't do that. Let them know when you started work and when you ended your work, or if you're working. You can do that with many tools. There are a lot of tools available. Check out the link I mentioned earlier. It's in the description, where there are a lot of tools available that will track what other people are doing at that point of time working from home. It could be Slack, a simple tool like Slack, where you just tell everyone that, hey, I've started work. There are some bots available which automatically will tell them when you log in. And there are also like VPNs and other kinds of networks available, where once you log in, someone else or your entire team will know that you're available and is working online. So let them know. It could also be just like, phoning up your boss and saying, hey, I'm working. I'll be ending up by 12 o'clock, or I'll be going out at 1 o'clock. So that way there is transparency and accountability, and other people would know what you're working on, if you're available or if you're not available. Many a times what happens is people will, sometimes people will be working their ass off, and then, they won't be letting other people know that they're actually doing it. And sometimes your boss misunderstands that, and they'll say, oh, I didn't see you online. Where were you? Maybe because your Skype was off, or you hadn't logged in onto Slack or whatever IM or chat programs you're using. So don't do that mistake. Let other people know. Have some kind of transparency. Have some kind of mechanism to show what you're working on. Be accountable for what you're doing, and tell them. And don't lie. If you're moving out, if you're going for running an errand, or if you're taking a lunch break or whatever, let other people know that you're not there at the desk and you'll be back soon. So that way, they know that you are someone they can rely on, and you're not like slacking off without them knowing it. All right. Okay guys, so I hope that was useful. I do have a lot more points to share, but then one video won't be enough. But I hope this is useful. If you have any questions, let me know. Working from home, I think, is going to be the future. There's a lot of opportunities here. It's actually easy if you get into the momentum, and if you get started with it with the right tools and the right expectations. But otherwise, it can be a little bit stressful. I've seen a lot of people opting out of working from home. They need that office environment. They need that pressure from the office. They need that bosses overlooking, and they really love that, and they're used to it. So working from home doesn't really work for them, but otherwise it's actually a cool thing to do. I've been working from home for the last 10 plus years. I hope you liked the video. If you are someone who's working from home, let me know what are your challenges. If you have any questions, I might actually be able to help you with some tools or tips that I know of. Do check out my other video where I talk about best work from home tools. You might also find it interesting. Hope you liked the video. If you did, like, share and subscribe. This is Mani Karthik signing off.